Welcome to another edition of On the Inside Track. Have you ever wondered how a person became who they are today? How did they come to certain beliefs? How did they choose a particular path? Who or what influenced the person they are now? Join me, Debbie Hazelton, on the Inside Track as one-on-one my guests and I explore defining moments from there to here on the Inside Track.
All the questions that you ask about your life.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of On the Inside Track. I'm Debbie Hazelton, and wow, have I got a treat for us this month of December 2018. I know last month we had the replays of Jason Castonguay and Nancy Pendergraft, two wonderful people, wonderful musicians, wonderful friends of mine, and just wonderful people to have as great, examples, ambassadors of good works and good words out in our community. I'm so grateful to both of them and each of them. And this month we have another person who I have admired for many years. We haven't always been in touch, not by any reason, just life taking us in different directions. I'm talking about the person and the works of Andre Louis. Now, many of you know of his music or his sounds. Many of you don't always know that it's Andre Louis who's making all that wonderful sound or wonderful noise. But I discovered the works of Andre when I was first learning about podcasting back in 2004, way back in the dark ages. So here we are in 2018. I've seen Andre on Twitter. I've been on Twitter, I guess, since 2010. And, said hello now and then. Back in 2004, it was his music beds. And I used some of them in podcasting. Just thought they were wonderful just to have material out there that we could use, didn't have to worry about copyrights and royalties, just acknowledging, which I always did say or print out there, that I appreciated his work. As time went on, I began to know of his shorts, which we'll hear more about, and some of his other music. And I was always, even back in 2004, 2005, Andre and I used to communicate on Windows Messenger. And I remember different times, but I remember one morning in particular, he just kind of rang me up on Messenger and said, "Hi, I woke up with this and thought you might want it." And it was another just incredible composition. I don't even know what it was at this point, but it was incredible. And I remember thinking, man, the muse is with him. It just is incredible how creative, how much creativity. And I don't know if he's written hundreds or thousands of pieces, but he's quite prolific and just an interesting person, as you will hear. This show will be on ACB Radio Mainstream as well as my YouTube channel, and we'll see wherever else it might show up. I was thinking last night that it was 14 years ago that I first found out about you. Isn't that insane?
That's a long time.
It is. I'm so happy that we're doing this. It's so great to hear your voice. It's been forever. And the name of that first piece was one of the shorts from Volume 1 called Who's the Bossa? So how are you?
I am not bad, and it's nice to speak to you as well. I've seen you on Twitter. I don't think if I have spoken to you, I don't remember it. It just seems like a lifetime ago.
We spoke many years ago, and you had me visit on your station or listen to you there.
Oh, wow.
And I was doing, I know. And I was doing podcasts back in 2004. That's how I found out about you. And I was using some of your beds, I think you called them.
Yes, that's right. They were beds. I still have those, There's a Dropbox folder that
You don't remember that we spoke? Oh, that has been a long time.
Too long.
Way too long. So this show is an interesting show, and it can go in a lot of different directions, but it's called On the Inside Track, and the subtitle is Defining Moments from There to Here. So
okay.
What I'm really interested in is, and I mean, I know I have some questions already kind of on the tip of my tongue, but I'm interested in how you got from wherever there was to wherever you are now, in however you want to approach that, because you're such an artist, so you probably have a mental landscape of some of this. And as we listen to Andre answer this question, we're also going to hear one of his pieces called Tasting the Sun, and I have a treat for you a little later on in the show.
Some of it, not all of it. The most recent of my There to Hears was when I started really focusing on my YouTube channel, because there was a day in November of 2017, and I was just reading a book and minding my own business, and my mother had previously passed away in the August of that year, and I felt that she said to me, stop reading and being lazy and go and do something. And that something was to start this series called Inspired by Sound, which you've probably heard of by now.
Yes.
In which I describe and break down some of my tracks and talk about sounds that really interest me and have inspired tracks. And I started this, and it's now been a year since that happened. And I feel very strongly that had Mum still been here, that would never have happened. I felt that she gave me that push, or spiritually or otherwise, to make that happen. So I'm grateful and thankful for that happening, because that's one of my There to Hears. Like, it's so strange, but it is so strong in my mind, that the feeling that I had. So for me, that is like a really important step down the road of life in a way.
That is beautiful.
Because she passed away in August of 17, and it was actually November the 5th, which is over here, fireworks night, that I first did my first ever YouTube upload. I just decided, right, I've got a phone, I've got a camera, I can do this. I didn't need any external equipment, and I made it happen. And it works, because I've gone from 81 subscribers in November of 17 to over 530 in November of 18. So whatever I'm doing is working. And I'm just thankful for that, because this is the only way we artists can do anything, is word of mouth and just trying to push it ourselves and market ourselves.
I actually agree. I actually believe it is the best form of marketing, and that most others just a real waste of money and all sorts of things.
But we artists have to support each other, because no one else will do that until we get big enough that we have fans,
Yeah. And what I love about what you're saying is it's sort of like tasting a recipe and going, what's in that? Wow, what is that? And getting the layers or the notes of a fragrance. But to get this sound, I know for me, sound is just, I have so many memories around sound. It's fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us do, particularly as blind people, that we associate sound with memories and places, and smells too. But since pictures are not something that we focus on a lot of the time, sound is so key to our mind working in the way that it does, So I'm with you.
And it's almost like scratching the itch, kind of like, what is that? And,
yes.
So, and I think it's wonderful that that's what part of your focus is in this.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I've really loved getting to grips with like a YouTube format. I'm now very, very comfortable on camera. And actually, I suppose the There to Hear came from the fact that I was asked at very short notice to give a speech at a university. I think it was 16 May of 16 in Cambridge University. It wasn't actually the university. It was like an offshoot. It was the English department. And they said, can you come and talk to us about accessibility and iPhones and how you use normal day-to-day products and blah, blah. And I was very nervous. It's like, wait, I do podcasts and tutorials all the time. Why should I be nervous at a lectern in front of people? It's the same thing, just people in the room. And I did it. And I was very nervous, but apparently it didn't show and it went down well. And from after that point, I thought, if I can do public speaking, I can do public speaking. So
Absolutely.
It stuck with me. That really stuck with me. And I thought, hell, I'll do it. And this is where I am now, you see.
I would think that you would also be a very good teacher. Have you ever thought about
I like teaching. I mean, I say teaching, I've done virtual teaching in form of, tutorials and things for Logic and whatever else. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoy that. I like conveying things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ever get round to watching some of my breakdown of videos and things, and if you don't come away with something, then I haven't done my job right. So I'm hoping that you will get something out of it.
Oh, I'm sure
I love to pass on knowledge,
Oh, yeah, I will. I was using the HomePod and the Echo last night to bring up some of your music. The HomePod brought up some really different stuff. I'm not sure if it was really yours or not. It had voices in there and and like rap sound.
It might have been the guy Question, and then I did a track with Johanna Heranen from Finland. So there's a possibility that you've found a few different things.
Okay. And then I went over to, on the Echo, it was playing a whole bunch of your stuff. And my friend, Miss Desmond, was there, and she said, I remember him. Yeah, I remember him.
Wow.
So that is really cool. She remembered you from back in 2004, 2005. That was when I first was aware of you. Wow.
Crazy, isn't it?
But, my sense of you is that when I think of you, I always say the muse is with you. I mean, you used to contact me on Windows Messenger, I think it was, and tell me that you woke up that morning with something and you would start playing it.
This is pre-Twitter, so we had to. This was the only way,
It was, yeah. It was. I just wonder, were you, like playing music in your crib or?
Probably. I mean, I know my parents got me my first keyboard at 3 years old and it sort of just never left,
Oh.
My father plays steel pans for a living. My mother met him at a steel pan thing. And so music has just always been around. I grew up hearing it just everywhere. Steel drums, if you will.
Okay. I never heard him called that. Okay. Wow. So it was always in your family.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the joy of it for sure.
Yes. Do you have any idea how many pieces you've written?
I have no idea. I know that on YouTube alone, because I set myself a goal to upload something every day, there's over 100 in a playlist of just that. Never mind the Inspired by Sound. That's completely different. There's 44 videos of that. But of tracks on YouTube alone, there's 114 as of today. So, yeah. And that's all been since 2016, May of 2016, because nothing on that playlist at the moment is pre-2016.
Oh, man.
That's ridiculous.
That's incredible. It's incredible.
Oh, my word.
And now I know, you have Dropbox and you have, I don't know if you're using OneDrive. I've got that, and you're using BT Sync or BitTorrent Sync.
Resilio Sync as it's now known.
Yeah, Resilio, yeah. But you also have stuff out there for sale, right?
Yes, I do have stuff for sale on iTunes and Spotify. And basically any digital store you can enter my name in, including Tidal. So if you throw my name in there, you're going to get that. Now, my plan, and you're the very first person to know this, by the way, is that I'm going to kind of do a best of YouTube. So I'm going to take the stuff I've uploaded to YouTube and maybe put together a 20 or something track album in December, I don't know what order I'm going to put it in yet, but I just sort of feel like I should put something out there to let people know that don't follow me there, that I'm still alive. I have a weird thing about music. Like a lot of people don't do this, but I feel like music should be free and you could choose to pay for it. So although the stuff will be on YouTube and is on YouTube, the option is there if people want to support. Like, a lot of artists will die, right, having left behind a vault of stuff that no one's ever heard because it wasn't either they think it wasn't ready or good enough, or they just don't want to. They just want to hold on to it. But when I pass from this life, I'll have left behind a legacy that people can use, and that's how I feel about it.
That's incredible. It's beautiful. And it isn't even just about like using it. I know, well, I do know Rick Moran has played some of your stuff in the background at ACB National Convention while, I don't know, people are finding their seats or doing different things. He's
Wow. See, I'm in places I didn't even know about.
Wow, it's great. But I'm so glad that more people are going to know about you from this show. And this will go to podcast, and you can have it as well. Well, you already are recording it. You will have it to do what you want with it. But
thank you. That's
it's important. Yeah, it's important that people know about you. I mean, you're an icon. You've been out here doing this, being this wonderful music. I don't know how it comes to you, but it's incredible. It's delicious music. If you were a chef, I would just love your food.
Come to my restaurant, the musical restaurant. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's like.
I came to a conclusion not so long ago, right? It took me a very long time to come to this conclusion. The conclusion is whether the track is long or short, you spent time on it. So It doesn't matter if the thing is, 13 seconds or 3 minutes or 10 minutes. You still spent time on it. So putting out a short track doesn't mean that you don't care. It just means that was what was in your head at the time. Bill Wirtz is a prime example of this. He's someone I very much admire. If you haven't heard of Bill Wirtz yet, you should. Look him up on YouTube. The guy's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Very strange. W-U-R-T-Z or Z.
U-R-T-Z. Okay.
Maybe you should say it's Bill Wirtz. I don't know. But he's a very interesting guy. Like some of his tracks on YouTube are incredibly complex, but they're all of, 5 to 10 seconds long.
Man.
I only discovered him very recently, but I started thinking about this when I started the whole Shorts project going back to like 2014. And I thought, you know what, someone has to have a library that does something like this. And if not, and there are, of course, lots of them, but they're very expensive. I thought, why don't I just make one? I'm a musician. I can do this and people can use it. And it's never stopped. I mean, I've done 161 of them, so far.
Yeah. I've browsed through lots of them. They're just fascinating. And I kind of try to picture this stuff coming to you, and it doesn't take you long at all to get it down, does it?
No, it's weird. I work quite quickly and also work quite well under pressure. So there are days when I just have an idea and I will spend 3 to 6 hours on it and call it a wrap. Some people spend months on a track and it takes them a lot longer. But we're all different in life, and that's what's so special about it. Mine is not lesser than theirs, and theirs is not lesser than mine for the time it takes, because music is music.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
I mean, the textures and the sounds and the rhythms, lots of subtleties, but just, it's definitely mind capturing. I mean, it's just incredible.
It's kind of weird. I've been making music longer than my kids have been alive. I mean, if you met me in 2004, and that's now 14 years later.
And you had been making music for quite a while, even back then, I believe.
Yeah, I started sequencing with non-talking stuff in the 90s, like hardware sequencers and just guessing where you were in the track and making sure that you, oh gosh, I don't miss those days.
No, I guess what you're doing is a whole lot easier now.
Oh, much easier. Absolutely. And there's so much more I can do with it too. It can be overwhelming at times because there is so much sound, but I prefer more than less,
Uh-huh. Yeah. Have so many things to choose from. Is your wife musical? Are your kids?
My wife is a dark horse because I've known her for 11 years. And it's only like the last year or so that I realized that she would sing. And she would sing in the kitchen. When no one was listening. But she is a very good singer, and she won't let me produce her yet. I'm working her up to that. She's very shy. But she has a very good voice, actually. And I feel bereft that we didn't work this out years ago. I would have been happy to, I've got to bring her out of that shell. But I will do it, damn it. I will do it.
You will. If anybody's going to do it, it'll be you.
She's really great. She doesn't believe in herself, though. And I told her, right? I work with countless musicians over many years, many gigs. And if I'm telling you this, I'm not going to lie to you just because I love you. Yes, I might be biased and blah, blah, but, a singer is good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And if she's average, I'll tell her she's great. She's actually great. She doesn't even know it.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
She will let you hear her, though?
Yeah, she will. Just about.
Just about. But look at how long that took.
I know. Funny, though.
A closet singer.
Well, that's it.
Oh gosh. Well, and now how about your kids?
Well, the funny thing is, I think they could be if they wanted to be. They can clap on time. They've got good rhythm, and I think that's just good genes, really. And there's a piano in the corner of the room to my left. And occasionally, Jake, my son, will lift the lid and play chords. I showed him some things, and then he got bored of it. It was a short phase. But you know what? These things come and go. He might come back to it. He might never come back to it. My daughter's just joined the choir. She's 6, so she's not singing great, but she wants to. So you know what? She's young yet. I'm not going to discourage her at all. And if she gets into it, I'll be very happy. So we shall see. I mean, there's music around them all the time. And I think that's part of the problem. If you see something around you all the time, it is normal. And so you just ignore it.
Yeah, or in some cases, some might say, well, that's around me all the time. I don't want that to be me.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if they'll embrace it later.
It's very possible. I'm not going to push them down any particular road because I think pushy parents, like, oh, you must get grade 8 by 3 years old. It's terrible, terrible behavior.
Good for you. Yeah. So you don't push your drive on them.
No, because what if it's not what they end up wanting to do and they resent it years to come?
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible.
Is there music going in your house all the time?
Well, a lot of the time there's a TV on and the TV has a lot of music on it and they ask, and they sing along to things and I will try to learn the things that they like so I can play them. My son likes this one thing from Minecraft and we all like it. I said, I wish I'd written it. It's so beautiful and so me and I love it. Yeah, I love playing it. It's very simple as well, but very effective. And it just sounds nice.
I was listening last night to some of your stuff on the Echo and I was noticing so many different moods and the soft and mellow, the jazzy, such a range, such a continuum. And I'm imagining the emotional person that must go with all of that.
Yeah, I think music is one of those things, particularly for me, that I will play when I'm angry, when I'm mad, or when I'm happy, whatever. And the music doesn't necessarily reflect my mood. I will play to get it out of my system or because I feel like playing. Mm-hmm. And what I write doesn't necessarily prove or disprove anything. It's just something to do. It's like doodling. If you're an artist, you might draw on a piece of paper on your table. Musical doodling is exactly that, but a doodle can turn into something amazing. And that's the joy of music. Ideas come late at night, early in the morning, when you're on a bus, which is a terrible time to get an idea because you can't write it down. I hate that.
Yeah, that would be frustrating. So you just kind of hope that you remember it and then get to that.
Yeah. These days, it's kind of easier because you can sort of discreetly hum it into your phone and record it. But back in the day, if you didn't have your dictaphone with you or a tape machine or anything, that's it. The idea's gone forever, probably, unless you rediscover it and don't remember it.
Do you use anything in your iPhone to record? I mean, you're just...
Yeah, I do. I use this app called Just Press Record that I really like. It's cool because it works on the Apple Watch as well. So, if I'm away from the phone, I can still capture an idea. And this actually has worked for one thing. There's a track on YouTube called A Brief Journey. And I hummed the melody to myself the night before. I was going to bed and it was late. And I was like, you know what? If I don't record this, I will forget it. I know I'll forget it. And I recorded it and I woke up and I knew that I'd recorded something, but not what it was because I had forgotten it. And when I played it back, I went downstairs, got at the keyboard and I sat down and I put this thing together. And all right, it's only 37 seconds. But like I said earlier, it's the fact that you made it happen that is the key point. I really like it. And I will probably extend it someday. But yeah, there's just so much in the world that is yet to be discovered. And I think...
Well, anything you want to share with us, you're right by that keyboard right now, aren't you?
I am. If you hear this, that was the melody that I had found. It was very slow. And I was like, all right, so next day, what can I do with that? And I came up with... I was like, yes, that is totally me. Love it. Just those downward chromatic. I just love that. And I thought, yeah, save that. And don't delete it.
Yeah. It sounds like you could go into a lovely ballad or a bossa nova something or... I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of a 6/8 thing when you get around to hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
7/8 actually, it's 7/8. But yeah, and another remember I was saying about working under pressure. So I've been doing a lot of work with Native Instruments recently, which is a music company over in Germany, but they're worldwide. And in 2016, they started to make their stuff accessible, and a lot of blind people now, musicians, know about this and have been using it. And I was one of them. I was the first to do that.
I remember hearing about that. Jason has that, I think.
Yes, he does, and it's phenomenal. And I did this podcast for them about that in 16 on SoundCloud. Now moved to YouTube because I deleted my SoundCloud. But I got a call from them not so long ago, and they said to me, I think it was like Thursday evening, can you come in on Monday and give a presentation to shop staff about how you, as a blind composer, use this stuff? And I was like, OMG, I don't know what I'm going to say or do or anything. And I said, yes, of course you do, don't you? And on the Sunday morning, I spent 3 hours putting together a little demo of a track. And in it is a crazy drum solo because I like to do this MIDI drumming thing, which is very niche and silly, but it's fun. And I played it, and I kind of got a standing ovation in the thing, and that was a nice moment for me because I didn't expect it.
I'm not surprised.
I just wanted to show them something, but it felt good. And I think if you do something that feels good and works for other people, then you're doing the right thing.
Absolutely. Well, I would imagine you would get standing ovations quite frequently. I mean, it's just...
you'd be surprised. Because the kind of gigs I do, jazz gigs, it's all very somber, it's very soft. But I just love being able to share in the music. And one of the greatest things, I think, for a musician, it doesn't matter what you play, is if they call you for a gig. Because if they call you, knowing hundreds of other musicians, then you're obviously the one they wanted, the touch or the style or the feel that you have. And that's a really special thing.
Absolutely. Well, did you ever have to really learn it, or did you just know it?
No, I don't know a lot of things, to be honest. It's weird because, your standard scales, I can play them and I know them, but I couldn't do them at any kind of speed that a classical musician would be happy at. He'd laugh at me. But if it comes to a solo or set of chords, I can do that. It's my knowledge is scatty because I never really studied theory as such. Now I can play, but it's funny. I struggle with more the basics than I do the complicated stuff. It's very strange. I think that's true of a fair few people that are self-taught.
Yeah, I can understand that. But when you play a series of chords like you just did, they sound very theoretically sound.
Yeah.
And that's mostly by ear?
It's ear. It's all ear, yeah. Everything I learned is by ear, and any gig that I do is by ear. I got to, study the material. Usually they send YouTube links or send physical MP3s over or something. Physical MP3s, imagine that. Tracks over. It's weird what a world we live in, that an MP3 is physical and YouTube is not.
Yeah.
It's happened to us.
It's fascinating.
I was telling my dad this actually this morning because he asked me to play a gig with him this Friday. Oh. And I said, listening to the tracks last night, I found them quite difficult. But I know myself, and I know that when I get on the stage and we do a sound check, I'll get them more than I do from a sort of sterile recording. Because when you're in a room with people playing the same thing you're playing, it's very different than listening at home. And this happens to me every gig, and I always fret before a gig. Always. Mm-hmm. There is not a single gig I don't fret before. But then when I get to the place, something that may have seemed difficult before is not necessarily easy, but it's easier. And that's just really strange, but it happens all the time.
I think a little bit of fret, a little bit of nervousness. The day that I don't feel nervous before I speak is the day that I probably won't speak well.
Like speak well, yeah.
I speak publicly, and I'm always a little nervous, or I do sing, and I always have gotten nervous before I've sung, and I don't think it's good to get so nervous that it's like
debilitating. Yeah.
Yeah. But the other day I used to speak and I would never think of having notes or anything. And then I went through this period of having lots of notes, and I've been kind of saying, okay, you got to get back to not having notes, just trusting. So I had everything written out in my on hand, and the thing crashed.
Oh no.
And I lost it all. And I said, okay, that's the word. It's time to get up and do it. And I did. Sunday I was speaking, and I did get up and I was like, okay, quit this thing of thinking you need all these notes, because
You don't. No, you really don't.
I don't. I know.
And I'm the same way. I tried one time, once only, to write down notes for something I was giving a presentation for. And I practiced in front of my wife, reading from these notes, and I was crap. And I threw away the notes, and it was so much better.
Oh, yeah, I believe it.
Like when I go on YouTube and do my things, because I don't know how to edit video, I go straight to camera and I don't edit.
Yep.
So whenever you watch any of these and you think about some of the longer stuff, like some of the longer videos, like 30 plus minutes, and it's non-edited, it's just straight through. Just remember that.
Yep. No, I really know exactly what you mean. I don't know how to edit either. And with talking or, even this, I can edit this once I turn it into MP3, but if it was YouTube, oh, forget it. Nope.
Exactly.
No. Yeah. But, like I said, the muse is so with you. It is incredible, and you said you were going to rehearse this today. You were out rehearsing before this?
No, they moved it, thankfully, to 4:30. So I haven't yet done the material. I've practiced it. I got it sent yesterday while I was in a car on the way somewhere. And this guy's like, can you rehearse tomorrow? I was like, yeah, sort of, but I'm working around something else. And it was you. And he said, how about 12 to 3? And I said, okay, but you have to rush me home at 3. And then it didn't happen to be a problem because he moved it. So I'm very happy that he moved it.
Yeah. I can't even picture you really rehearsing, though. It just, it just seems like you just get an idea and there it is. It's almost...
Well, I tell you what, I'll show you a little clip of what I'm going to be rehearsing when I leave you. Let's see, because I think you'll enjoy. It's a blues and it's really, really funky and I love it. Here's the track. Is it that one? So I was like, it's just don't rush it. And I was like, that's a really weird chord sequence. And I was getting it all messed up. So, oh, no. And I was trying to do it in octaves because it sounds great in octave.
Yeah.
And that's where scales come in. So, but it's slower. I was trying to do it faster than the track so that I can do it at the track speed. So, see, it's so difficult, but I got there in the end. It's like, I can do it.
Yeah.
And it felt great. So I was like, okay, can I do it? Yeah, okay. No, missed it. It's G. Don't rush it. Keep going. And I just thought, yes, I can do that. That was the hardest track of the 3. And I thought, if I don't get that right, I'm setting a bad precedent. That's not hard, but it's hard, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I got it, it felt so empowering.
Yeah.
So before we joined, I was just practicing a bit of that.
I love it.
I know. It caught my attention yesterday. I was on the way somewhere in the car in the rain, and I was like, they sent me the track on WhatsApp, and I was listening to it. And it's like, oh, that's difficult. But it's only difficult because I wasn't at the keyboard. When you get to the key, you start playing it, your mind just goes, oh, okay, got it.
Oh, gosh. That is just great.
It's cool, isn't it? It's such a nice riff. It's going to be it was stuck in my head all day. I love it.
Well, I like what you did in adding the rhythm to it. That's so you, and it fits.
I hope they'll like it. I haven't met this guy before. One of them I've met is the bass player for one of the bands I play with. He's like, you know what? I've got a friend who lives like 2 streets away from you. Do you want to play on his tracks? I was like, yeah, why not? I don't know the stuff, but I'll do it. And then he sent me that. It's like, oh, intimidating. And then I sat down this morning and goes, actually, not so bad. In about an hour, I'll meet this guy for the first time, and I'll see what he thinks of my playing. I'm always fretful the very first time I meet someone because you don't want to overplay and you don't want to underperform. And there's this really fine line as a musician. Jason, if you're listening to this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Of just getting right that sweet spot, Mm-hmm. And any other musician too. But yeah, Jason and I go back a long way too.
Oh, yes. I'd love to hear you two do more together.
We really have to. He's like just so freaking awesome.
Yeah. I said there would be a treat. So here is Andre doing Tasting the Sun, but this time joined by Jason. So I think this is pretty cool. Hope you enjoy it.
Baby, when I'm with you, time just seems to fly. And lately, I'm thinking you might be the one. And honey, when we're kissing, I feel so warm inside. It feels just like tasting the sun.
I look up to him a great deal. He's a smart guy, and he has chords everywhere, and I learn from that.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. I know he wants to learn more from you as well. So
it's good to have the mutual respect and appreciation, because, we can all learn from each other. And I think that's one of the best, most amazing parts about music anyway.
It is.
That just drop the arrogance at the door. Okay. Everybody is here for a reason, and we're all here to learn from each other. Even the greatest musician in the world can learn from a baby.
Was it? That's a great place, and I've come to that place a lot in my life as well. Has it always been that way for you, though? I mean, has it always been that much of an openness to kind of let other people do what they do and come to what they come to?
I hope so. I'd like to think so. I'd like to think as well that I keep an open mind where music is concerned and where everything else is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
We'll try to. I think human nature is very judgy by default. So, of course, there's always going to be that one thing. But there's certainly where music is concerned, because it's my craft. I love to hear other people shine and thrive doing it, playing it, living it, listening to it too. And I love to show people new things they would never have listened to before. That's really special.
That is. So what are your days like? Are your days full of music just from every day?
Sometimes. Some days I choose not to play it or don't feel like it. So I'm often caught reading ebooks. I'm a huge avid reader. I get a lot of Kindle books and I ebook them and read them. But when I'm not, I'm playing with the kids or talking to the wife or, playing music. If I'm not playing it, I'm listening to it in the background very low, for example. I always have a media player running. Winamp is just always in my system tray, always on. So, yeah. And if I'm not doing that, I'm out either gigging or rehearsing, or I'm out with my friends or family. And, of course, I do a lot of sound recording as well, because I like that sort of thing, too. I think for me, they go hand in hand, music and sound around us, because you can incorporate both into the same space. That's really special.
It's just incredible. And I'm so, before when you and I did chat some, this is before.
I'm starting to remember, Yeah.
Before your wife and kids. And I'm so happy that you have this chapter in your life, that it sounds like you're so happy.
I am. I'm very contented with life because, one of the most low parts was, of course, losing mum. But the thing is, she would never have wanted me to be sad. And the week after she died, I was actually going on tour with a band for the first time. So I didn't have time to feel sorry for myself. I had to keep my ear and eye to the ground and focus, because I had to make sure that I knew all of these tracks inside, outside, upside down, and go and play.
Well, it sounds like she helped to make sure. And that's wonderful. And how's your dad doing without her?
He's okay. He's good. Luckily, they divorced a long time ago, but he was there when she passed. We were in the hospital together because he drove me down. Okay. So it was a moment. It was a moment I'll never forget. But at the same time, sad though it was, she left behind a great legacy. I have 2 wonderful sisters after myself, and tried to look after them as well. And she got to see her grandkids. So for me, that's a great thing. And my wife, she loved my wife.
Oh my gosh, where did you meet your wife?
On your equivalent of Craigslist. It was called Gumtree. Because I basically put out an ad to meet a friend. And I did meet a friend. I meant nothing sordid, just literally. I was living alone at the time. And I said, I would love to meet someone that I could just go hang with. And she saw my picture and my post and responded to it via email. And then everything just happened after that very quickly. And
I love it.
Incidentally, on December the 2nd, which is this Sunday, we will have been together 11 years. Not married for 11 years, but been together 11 years. So, yeah, we'll have a little bottle of Prosecco and a good meal or something.
That is so wonderful. It's interesting, too, because she's not doing all the same things that you are. So you get to just enjoy this other whole life together.
Yeah. And she's not blind, so it's kind of outside the community. And it's really cool as well.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Wow. So anything else on the horizon that you want to?
Yeah, actually, as a sort of passing observation, I don't know if I showed Jason this track or not yet, but there's a track I started called Nins and Pedals, and it's basically pins and needles with the first letters reversed.
I love it.
It was one of those ideas I had very quickly come to me, and I had an idea for it. I'm going to send you that as well. And it was just, my kids had just come home from school, and I was sitting at a keyboard going, ooh, let me play with some new sounds, because I'd just gotten a whole bunch of new sounds, and because that's what I do all the time. My wife often jokes I have more sounds than she has shoes, and this is very true. So I was going through this guitar thing, and I was like, oh, I like those chords. Let me do something with that. And then I found the melody, and from there I just wrote this piece, and I decided that I want it all to be played by live musicians. Mm-hmm. And it's so fun. And I had such a good feeling about it. I started sending it around to a few of the people I gig with a lot. And everyone I've spoken to really likes the track. And when that happens, you've got something good going on. And I felt really super positive about it. So now I'm just kind of in talks to see who I can get to play on it. I already have one guy playing the end guitar solo on it, but it's a track that I've written that I'm not actually going to be in probably. It's for bass guitar and drums, not keys. So it's kind of nice to do something that you're not actually focused on or in.
Wow.
It's going to be different.
Interesting. So are there any bad tracks? Do you write any that you just go, oh, no, that's not going, I don't like that, or it's not
I think so. I try to forget about them, but I probably have, and I'm certain I will again. Certain things as well, you just don't save, and it's great because then no one else has to hear your badness either. It's like, bad singing in the shower, but when you have a good day, you want to share it with the world, and that's the greatest feeling on earth.
Oh, wow. So you are still doing radio?
Well, I haven't actually done a show on my station for a really long time, but only because I've been focused on this whole YouTube thing, because that's mainstream in a way.
Yeah.
And also my brand and myself and getting work. Because when you see someone on the street, they're not going to say, what's your internet radio station? And it's nothing against internet radio stations.
Sure. Yeah.
The first thing they're going to ask is, what's your Instagram? Or what's your YouTube?
That's true.
So I've tried to put out, content for them to see when I see them, because that is the best way to get work.
That's true. So do you put things up on Instagram where you're playing as well?
I do. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. I need to start doing that then.
I will help you.
Okay. All right. So, and on your YouTube, are you doing any YouTube live, or is it always pre-recorded?
I would do YouTube live if it was stereo. I'm very snobby about this whole thing. And I have done some, and it was at one point, but then they changed, I don't know, something. And the last time I did a YouTube live, it was all mono the whole way. But what I do is Periscope live. So if people want to sit and watch and listen, Periscope is the best place to do that.
I didn't know if anybody was still doing Periscope. I haven't heard about that as much.
I've gotten back into it, especially because they have a better audio option only. You can do audio only and stereo as well. And this was in the last 2 or 3 months. I hadn't touched Periscope in over a year and a half before this point.
Well, the thing about YouTube Live is there's usually a chat component, and it's very tricky to try to do that.
It's worse than Periscope. Periscope live chat is really good. YouTube live chat is kind of awkward.
I'll have to check into that, and Instagram as well. That sounds really good.
We can make this work. What I'll do is next time you're available, DM me, and I'll get on Periscope for you. I can do a live, and you can look at the chat on your phone and see what you think of it, because it's actually.
Is there an app? Is it an app?
Yeah, it's very voiceover accessible too.
Okay, all right.
It ties into your Twitter, and when it basically you can follow everyone who you follow on Twitter, so it makes it a lot easier to find people.
Oh, that's good. Okay. I know some people who use Instagram quite a bit. I just didn't think blind people were using it much. I thought it was mostly pictures.
A lot of it is, but when it's video, we can benefit from that. It's multimedia.
Sure. Yeah.
Pictures I skip over.
Yeah.
But I've gotten heavily into Instagram lately. Basically, my wife kind of suggested it. She said, even if you can't make too much use of it, put stuff up there. So I've been editing. I say editing, it's basically just trimming. I use QuickTime on the Mac to do that. And it makes it a lot easier. You could just basically set an end and a start and end point, and then the bit in between is your video.
Yeah, somebody did tell me that, and I need to do it because I'll
do a quick tutorial on QuickTime, because you're not the first person to ask me about that. It's simple, but it's weird.
Well, gosh, this is all just absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
Really, really great. So
it's nice to be back in touch, and let's make that continue as well.
I would love that. Well, I'm glad that you have sort of started to remember.
It's just so much has happened.
I know. It's like a million lifetimes, It's just amazing. It really is.
Lots of 7 years, isn't it? That's what they say. I've been working hard. Yeah, when you subscribe, I will get that notification, and I'll subscribe right on back.
Excellent.
And the last, I suppose, important point is that I am happy to do custom work as well. So whether it's sound design for an application, like you might not know that I did the sounds for Twitterific for Mac, all of those sounds, or Blind Square, those were all me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there was some others that I knew you had done. Was
Chicken Nugget and TW Blue.
Yes.
The new TW Blue, the Freaky Blue pack, that's me.
Yep, I knew that was you. Yeah. Cool. Well,
But yeah, custom music as well, because it pays the bills. So
but I
I
really
just
wish.
doing some work for Brian Hodge, and actually I can say that because he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Repeat client, and it's always nice because I like to turn around the stuff in the same day, because a lot of people you'll ask them to do something and it takes them a month or a week, but for me, if I haven't done it in the same, it preys on my mind. I'm kind of anal retentive about that, so I really like to turn it around as quick as possible.
Well, I'm just glad that these people know who you are. They know who to come to. And, and even the guy yesterday asked you, they reached out to you, right? So obviously they already know what you sound like.
Yeah, Liam did. He was very, very nice to be. He's a very high flying bass player. This guy could play on any stage and be well received. So for him to contact little old me, I felt great about that.
Yeah. So that is excellent. But yeah, I wish Apple would put different sounds in the watch for, like, if you get
different applications. Absolutely. The one sound for every app is so irritating.
Well, that, or there are two, but like I want one if it's a text versus a voicemail or an email. I don't
microwave ding.
Yeah. The microwave or the Braille writer ding.
Yes, that too. I forgot about it.
Oh gosh, yeah. I think it would be.
You can always shout at me on walkie-talkie as well if you ever get bored.
Oh, I don't have the. Is that only on the newest watch, or no? That's the newest.
No, it's on the newest Watch OS, so you can use it if you're on Watch OS 5.
Yeah, I am. Okay, cool.
I've got an S2 watch. I was going to upgrade to an S3, but I decided I was going to buy an Orbit reader instead of the watch. So I did.
How do you like it?
I really like it. Yeah, it's a bit clunky and noisy, but I don't care. It's my first ever Braille display, so I like it a lot. It's fun.
That sound would bother me. That sound of, when you're reading would really get to me, especially if I'm around other people. I'd be like, oh.
The thing is, I'm in a house of children, right? They're always playing games, consoles, and iPads and things. So that noise is actually not even that bad.
Well, this has been absolutely delightful. I am thrilled. They're going to love getting to know you better.
I hope so.
If you wish to join his Dropbox folder, send an email to onj.louis@gmail.com. Find him on Twitter at onjmusic. Find his YouTube channel in the show notes, along with information about how you can support him through Patreon. Thanks so much for being here, Andre. This was such fun, and I just am so glad to be back in touch, and I hope all of us will keep the music alive in our hearts, in our lives, and thanks for daring to live on the Inside Track.